Do not, I repeat, do not feed your dogs grapes or raisins. They will look like this. Today we're going to be talking about raisin and grape toxicity. Please welcome Dr. Melanie Boudreau.
Hello, Carol. Hi, Isabel. How are you? Thank you.
Go ahead. Well, we would really like to know what poses such a risk about grapes and raisins.
Well, the cause of the grapes and raisin toxicity is well unknown at this time, but research is trying to prove that maybe it's in the skin of the grapes instead of just the grape itself.
Does it matter what type of grape it is?
No, not at all, actually. Any type of grapes. Organic grapes, wine grapes, green grapes, red grapes, even raisins. And raisins seem to be more toxic than regular grapes because they're more concentrated.
So, I know that people know them as grapes. Is there any specific scientific name for a grape?
Yes, actually. The scientific name for the grape is the Vitis vinifera, and raisins and any type of grape. The dosage of raisins isn't really that high, but it's actually pretty significant compared to their body weight. The dosage of raisins is 32 ounces per kilogram to 0.65 ounces per kilogram is the toxic dose for dogs and cats.
So what kind of signs would you see? What kind of symptoms would you see if your animal ate grapes?
Good question. Well, first initial signs would be vomiting and or diarrhea, and it's often seen within a few hours. And they'll also have a loss of appetite, lethargy, weakness, unusual quietness, abdominal pain, oliguria and anuria, and if it gets to the extreme toxic levels, you see renal failure and even death.
So oliguria and anuria, what is that to us normal people?
Well, good question. Oliguria is the grease and urine production, and anuria, is a lack of urine production.
Huh, that's very interesting.
Absolutely.
So if your dogs ate grapes, is there something you could do at home to help them get it out of their system quickly?
Absolutely. Although it's not recommended, you could induce vomiting as soon as possible using a peroxide solution of 1 teaspoon to 5 pounds, no more than 3 teaspoons at one time within 10 minutes. Also, it's not recommended, but you should definitely bring them to the vet as soon as possible, even if you induce the vomiting. You should not induce a vomiting if the canine is unconscious, having trouble breathing, or exhibiting signs of serious shock. You may need to lavage the stomach, which is cleaning it out real good, and fluid therapy, IV fluid therapy for 48 hours, and drugs for encouraging urine output. Urine output stimulated with dopamine, 0.5 to 3 micrograms per kilogram per minute administered IV, and or furosemide, 2 milligrams per kilogram. Anuric dogs unlikely to survive unless peritoneal dialysis or hemolysis is performed. If no urine is produced, you may put the animal on dialysis to support kidneys while they recover.
Now, why would that animal need to go on dialysis, or why would they need urine to be produced? What does a grape do that causes that?
Well, we really are not sure because the toxic agent in grapes and raisins is still unknown. But with them being on dialysis with renal failure, we definitely need to still monitor the blood chemistries on a daily basis. Kidney failure definitely can equal death if left untreated, and your prognosis is guarded even with the treatment. So you definitely still have to be careful. You can use active charcoal to cleanse the stomach of all the leftover toxins from the raisins or grapes, and that usually works pretty well.
Is that something that we would do, or the vet would do?
No, it would definitely be the vet. You would have to take them into the vet and you get all this taken care of. This is something that you cannot do at home. Like I said, it's only if you cannot make it to a veterinarian should you actually induce vomiting yourself. you should absolutely 110% bring them to a veterinarian to get checked out and make sure that renal failure or anything has set in already.
So this is definitely like an emergency situation.
Absolutely an emergency situation.
What kind of prevention can people take at home?
Well, if you have small children around the house as well as pets, you definitely want to keep your grapes and raisins out of their reach, and definitely educate your children on not feeding the grapes or any. Definitely keep grapes and raisins out the reach of your children. Definitely educate them on the toxicity, how toxic it is to your animals. Definitely educate them on how toxic it is to your animals, and make your children aware that feeding the grapes and raisins to the animal will actually harm them and take their animal away from them. Also make sure everyone in the house is aware of this hazard, not only your children. So definitely keep your local vet's number and the closest emergency clinic and the SPCA Animal Poison Control Center number in easy access, like on a fridge or anywhere that even your kids can find, just in case, you know. And the number to the Poison Control Center is 888-426-4435.
Well, thank you, Dr. Molly. Coming up next, we have a special guest, Brandon, who we're going to talk to and see if he actually knows that grapes are toxic to dogs. We'll be back. And welcome back. And right now we have our friend Brandon, who has absolutely no idea about anything about animals, and we're going to ask him some questions today. All right, so Brandon, did you know that grapes were toxic to dogs?
Well, no, but I think anything that has alcohol content that animal drinks or eats.
It's a grapes, not wine.
But grapes are wine. Am I not correct?
Yes, sir, you are correct.
Doctor?
So, will you be feeding your dogs grapes or raisins or wine anytime soon?
No, I will not be feeding my animals grapes or anything, well, because after this enlightening conversation with you girls, I think they're toxic, and I don't even know if I will be partaking in grapes. Or wine.
Or wine.
That's a lie.
Yeah. True.
Big frickin' wine.
So are you at least gonna keep the emergency numbers that you need to keep on the fridge, such as animal poison control, your vet clinic, and your nearest emergency vet clinic?
Yeah, as long as it's not.
I mean, you do it for your children, so why not?
Yeah, I mean, my animals are my children too.
No? Thank you, Mr. Brandon, that's all.
Yes, thank you. Cheers.
And that completes our segment for today. Don't forget, toxicity to your dogs has to do with grapes and raisins and wine.
And then keep your local vet's number and the closest emergency clinic and SPCA Animal Poison Control Center 888-426-4435.
No dogs were harmed in the making of this video. She was merely just sleeping in the sun.
Are we going?
And roll it.
Raisins and grapes are both toxic to animals, dogs and cats, and it could be any type of grape: organic, wines, red grapes, green grapes, and any type of raisins. And raisins are more toxic.
She's no longer the doctor. Who's the doctor?
Olguria and anuria, like what is that to us normal people? We have no idea.
Good question. Olguria is a lack of urine production. No, it's not. Decreased urine output. Okay.
go scare them.
Just open the door.
What are you doing to my dog?
Maybe just petting her.
Yeah, I think he's just petting her.
What are you doing, my dog? Oh, go ahead, man. You're alright. Good, Mike.
Oh my god, that's on record.
Oh, yeah. It's still recorded.
That's bloopers.